Oh, I love that song. I love that song. Welcome everyone to the Townhall number 37, and the first Townhall of 2023. Please confirm, as always, in the Townhall chat that you can hear me well, that the sound is working good, and tag me as well. If you tag me, you can see that I dressed up for the occasion. Um, I try to look dapper for the Townhalls. You need to look good. I saw the meme coming from the Stratlas community account today, comparing the sister wedding to the Stratlas Townhalls. If someone has it close to you, please post it in the Townhall chat because that was hilarious. There you go, Dominic posted it. That's awesome. I love that meme, and it's accurate. It's accurate. Let's go. We have the first Townhall of 2023, and I'm here on stage with the man, the myth, the legend, Swagner. How are you, Mike?
Good morning, Santi. How are you?
Good morning. This is an early town hall, huh?
This is the earliest town hall I think we've ever hosted, but
For
excited to
sure.
be here. Excited to be here. I think we have a great agenda lined up today, and man, I didn't realize how much I missed our intro music. Darwin got me psyched for today.
Yeah, man. That last one is I have to admit is my favorite one by far, and it always gets me feeling good before a Star Atlas event. I mean, it's not a Star Atlas event if that song isn't played before. That's all I'm going to say.
I still go back and listen to the Rebirth tracks. I don't know if you ever do that,
Oh
but
yeah,
man, those things
yes,
are they will live forever.
for sure. Part of history.
Mhm.
Part of history. So let's get started, Michael. Let's get started. Just a few comments. Town halls are not happening every 3 weeks anymore. Town halls are happening. I don't know how many town halls we're going to have, but are happening when we have news or when the committee needs a town hall as well. Just kind of um, like this one, but we also have some cool news. Um, but yeah, it's not happening every 3 weeks anymore. So just if you are curious when the next town hall is going to happen, just stay tuned to announcements. Also, if you want to listen in Spanish to this town hall, Chimera and Nebular TV are translating it live. I'm not sure, Dom, if you can drop the link in the town hall chat for people to go and check that out. That would be awesome. But yeah, if you want to listen to the town hall in Spanish, Nebular TV and Chimera are actually translating it live. So awesome. Thank you for that, Chimera and Nebular TV, KeplerNet. So today we have a very packed agenda, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things like 2023 plans, DAC platform updates. We're going to go through some runway questions and a lot more. So make sure you stick around to listen to the whole thing. And yeah, now I feel like we can start with some. We just wanted to have a few shout outs, a few mentions to some community members um, who have been working really hard for the Star Atlas community, and they're just doing some cool stuff for Star Atlas as a whole. So we wanted to give a shout out first to Enigma 42. He's creating 3D printed ship models, and they're looking awesome. Again, if you want to follow everything that I'm saying and you want to click on the links and check out everything that we're sharing now, just go to the Town Hall chat and our guy Dominic is going to be posting them in the chat, so you can check it out. Then a huge shout out to the Hologram News Network. These guys, um, they follow every single Star Atlas news, and they just keep everyone updated. So huge shout out to the Hologram. They always have new things coming, like like a podcast now, where they really dive deep into Star Atlas specific topics. So yeah, huge shout out. I don't know, Michael, you haven't been in Asia, right? There was a rumor that you were in Asia, and when I saw it posted by the hologram, I was like, wow, so Michael is in Asia. I assumed it. We really trust the hologram news, but
Not
that
a-
was fun.
not not as far as I know, but who knows? My alternative personality, maybe.
Oh man, that's awesome. So yeah, huge shout out to the hologram. Then we wanted to also give a shout out to our content creators. So first, Metaverse Nomads. these guys haven't missed a single day. I think they're over episode 70 now, and they haven't missed a single Sunday. They are literally, to name, they are consistency. So make sure to go and give Metaverse Nomads a follow if you want to just stay updated on everything Star Atlas related, everything Metaverse related, and crypto related. They are a great source. So make sure to go and check them out for sure. Then also wanted to give a shout out to Metaverse Explorer. Metaverse Explorer keeps also everyone updated. He posts almost like a video every single day. So we also love Metaverse Explorer. Huge, huge, huge shout out to Metaverse Explorer as well. Again, we're posting all the links in the Townhall chat, so everyone in the audience can go and check them out. Also, shout out to Atlas Theory. Atlas Theory, the OG of OGs, the guy who created the first ever piece of Star Atlas content, reacting to the posters from the River campaign. I will never forget about that. Then also to Archetype. Archetype, I don't know in how many projects inside the Star Atlas community you work on, but you're an absolute legend. Also to Sigi, keeps us updated on Twitter. Morpheus, he hosts a lot of events for the French community. He even hosts the French Brew every Thursday. So make sure to also, if you speak French, go to the bottom of the server, react to the French flag, and you will get access to the French community, where it's a super active community. They even have their own brew hosted by Morpheus, Winston, and Darwin, and it happens every Thursday. So make sure to join that as well. Also, shout out to Cal. Cal keeps the community, the Spanish-speaking community, updated for everyone. You are, if you speak Spanish and you follow Cal, you're not going to miss any single new. Then also shout out to Thor, OGC Thor. He also puts some great Star Atlas content on YouTube, and yeah, just huge shout out to Thor. And also to Ghost Cat. Ghost Cat, Star Atlas content creator. Um, we call him the Spicy Ghost Cat, and make sure to follow him. He puts together also tournaments with some really cool prizes. So yeah, make sure to follow him as well. I also don't want to miss all the Star Atlas guilds. If I just have to name everyone, every single guild, I'm not going to have enough time. But guys, you are what keeps the Star Atlas community in the next level. So thank you for everything you do for the community, for real, to every single guild. Thank you so much. Then also wanted to give a shout out to a few builders in the space, a few people who are putting together some cool pages. So first we start with the data. Thank you to Galactic Dash, Stardust Economy, Starstat, and Red Spatula. If you want to be updated uh, on everything, basically, if you want to check out the data about Star Atlas, make sure to follow these pages, mark them as favorites in your browser, and you are going to be following all the data about Star Atlas. Then also, if you need some help with piloting in Star Atlas, just like Michael still is learning how to change his Pierce X4 from hover mode to flight mode. Make sure to attend one of the academies that are happening. So we have a few guilds launching pilot academies like Chimera, the Club, and Eclipse. So if you want to learn how to pilot a Star Atlas ship, make sure to join. Then shout out
LOL.
to Gargantuan Coexist.
Good one, Santi.
What's up, Michael?
Good one, Santi.
Yeah, man. You know how it is. Then, and I promise I'll keep this short. Shout out to Gargantuan Coexist for representing the Stratless family in real life events. And if you ever want to participate in real life event to represent Star Atlas, just send us a message and we will help you. Then, just so you're updated, we have community events every Wednesday. So the Atlas Brew. If you go to the top of the server, you can mark as interested every single brew that is happening. So just go to the top left of the server and mark as interested. And then we also host every Friday the Future of Web3 Gaming. And this Friday we are talking about esports. So you can go also to the top of the server and just mark as interested so you don't miss it. And this was all. Thank you for for to everyone who I mentioned and to everyone who I probably missed. I probably missed a lot of people. So I just wanted to. We have a next level community, and I just felt like it was worth it to just give a few. yeah, a few kudos and shout outs to everyone. So let me take a sip of water, Michael, and we will go to the main topics for today.
Yeah, great intro, man. And it's amazing seeing this flourishing community continuing to produce content. Worth mentioning here, I know we posted about it. People probably know about the award, but we were at the Web3 Gamer Awards. This was hosted by Icy. That was Wednesday this week or Tuesday of this week, and we won the most engaged community award. So congratulations to all of you guys. That's a direct result of all of the effort and energy, enthusiasm that you have for us here. So we really appreciate that. Um, and I just wanted to touch on too, Santi. So Enigma 42 with the 3D printed ship models. This is kind of a big opportunity for us. We've spoken a little bit in the past about IP or intellectual property opportunities and leveraging the Star Atlas brand and being able to develop out products and services, but not just on the technology side. Um, the opportunity that we have with Enigma right now is we're exploring a more open format of our IP policy. Dan's working through this right now, so I don't have all of the specifics as they continue to discuss this. But the idea is that you can take advantage of the Star Atlas brand and IP to build a product, generate revenue. You can commercialize this product, and there are no licensing requirements with us directly for up to $1 million in gross revenue. So if you want to use the Star Atlas brand and do something like sell these 3D printed ship models, or we could explore the tabletop game concept, or really wherever your imagination takes you, we are open to a little more freedom in how people take advantage and leverage that Star Atlas brand. So hopefully we see some more discussion going on. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have an idea and you want to discuss what the potential is and how we can collaborate on that.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm sure like we have gotten that request a few times, a lot of times actually. So if anyone is looking to build any product and looking to leverage the this Star Atlas brand, like just send us a message and we'll get that. We'll look into that.
Perfect.
So
And just real
yeah,
quick,
Michael,
I'm just
anything
going
else?
to answer one question here. I see Wiki asked what happens after 1 million revenue. At that point, we would need to have some type of licensing agreement in place. We'd probably look at various revenue sharing models. And one of our motivations is to be able to create these types of business relationships and contractual engagements, but do so directly with the DAO as well. So what we would likely be doing, and this is just me speculating right now, but what we would likely be doing is structuring a deal where a portion of that revenue from the brand licensing fee would be going directly into the DAO. Possible we do that as a split between Automata and the DAO, but these are all things that we're open to exploring. So again, share your ideas with us if you have them.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Michael, for the updates. And I think it's time to hop on the main topics for today, Michael. You ready?
Let's go.
You have the glass of water next to you?
I already finished my first glass of water.
Awesome. That's how you should start the morning. So yeah, I think the main thing, Michael, let's go straight into the main topics. I think the main thing is of course the runway. So
Right.
we have people have been asking about the runway. So um, I wanted to ask you, what are some things we have done to ensure that we have extended the runway to build Star Atlas?
Well, I think it's worth starting here just with kind of team sentiment, Santi. And from my
Yeah.
perspective, the team came back from break fully mobilized, fully energized. We have been grinding and putting the hours in already. We we did already have our first product ship of the year. That was with the Dow Treasury. We'll get into that a bit later. But just from my perspective, the team is incredibly excited. So I think the morale is good. The enthusiasm's good, and I'm super excited for the year and years ahead of us. But I wanted to maybe ask you, from your viewpoint, being a team member, being with us for what, almost 2 years now, how do you think everybody's feeling, and what's your personal sentiment?
Yeah, man. I think everyone just understands how big this vision is, and I think every single Star Atlas employees get that, and they know that this is not just a 9 to 5 job, but we are building something big. We're building a dream, and we all share that same dream, like internally and also externally with the community. So we are here to put the hours in. We're here to work. We're here to try to achieve the dream, Michael. You know.
I love it, man. Love it. And you're definitely right about the not having the 9 to 5 mentality. Um, I promise I won't divert for too long here, but just a quick story. You just made me think of this because a few of us on the team have started playing some Destiny 2. We were actually in our fire pit on our internal Discord playing, and BCM from the DAO and Mark Jackson from the DAO came into the chat last night, and people may have experienced some issues with locking Polis. That's actually now resolved, but these guys were up at midnight working on a resolution to the DAO. So major props to them for just putting in the extra hours. But I don't think anybody on this team thinks in terms of 9 to 5. We just think in terms of what needs to get done and how quickly can we get it done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So with that, okay, I do have to I have to put a few disclaimers out here. This is a sensitive topic for a number of reasons. I want to be as transparent with you guys as possible. I want to share as much information with you guys as possible. We want to keep you fully informed, and we want to instill that confidence in you that we're here, we're going to be around, we're not going anywhere, and that genuinely is my perspective and my sentiment right now. However, it's just absolutely critical from a business risk perspective that everything that we share with you, there's some certainty around and accuracy to. So just some quick disclaimers. All of the comments that I'm going to make in the next couple of minutes, this is accurate to the best of my knowledge given the current situation, but you should know that there is still a lot of uncertainty. And obviously, we operate in a very dynamic environment. Things change very quickly, especially at bleeding edge tech companies and coupled with crypto. So everything I'm sharing is accurate to the best of my knowledge, but please understand that any of this can change. It could change tomorrow. So do with that what you will, but we're going to do our best to get you guys some updates here.
Awesome.
Okay, so I think your first question, if I can circle back to it, was what have we done to extend the runway, or what actions did we take? Is that right, Santi?
That is 100% correct, Michael.
Yeah. Okay. So, the news came in. It's been a chaotic couple of months. The news came in about the FTX debacle, I will call it, in November, and this was right when we were returning from Breakpoint, which was really an incredible event for us. But I knew that we needed to take action very quickly, and there were a couple of things that we initiated. And the first of those was how do we generate some immediate revenue? And so we discussed some different opportunities through and executed on the launch of the Start Sequence campaign. So again, I'm sure most people on the call already know what this was, but we started with some discounts on a select group of ships. There were 6 different ships that had 80% discounts. We also listed the Titans. Sad to see none of the Titans went out at the $1 million price point, but that is okay. They'll come back at another time. And then the other 2 parts of this were 2 different types of land sales. So we rolled out the first actual sales of claim stakes between tier 1 and tier 5, and then we also kicked off the sale of the CSS land, which is primarily cosmetic. This is your home in the metaverse, but we added in some additional utility and perks through things like the crafting bench and just some other light elements that increase the immediate utility of those items. This was actually a really solid event for us, all things considered, given the market and given the what I would say is the sentiment at the time, the concerns about our viability going forward. The total of that event, those 4 prongs of the sale, generated $2 million in USDC. So that was very helpful. I just want to say thank you to everyone out there who participated in that event. It was certainly meaningful to us and allowed us to strategize a bit more deeply on what other options we had available to us. The purpose there was to buy ourselves a little bit more time so we could make better decisions about our strategy. We were also able to negotiate the sale of our claim with FTX. So we actually recovered a decent amount of our capital off of FTX through a brokered deal. And then, the last part here, which some people were advocating for heavy reductions across the team, or heavy expense reductions, I suppose I should say. My motivation was to minimize and mitigate the impact to the team as a direct result of the FTX event. And what we were able to do, we did unfortunately have a few cuts across the team. We had about I want to say 13% reduction in our headcount, but that actually led to a 25% reduction in our total monthly expenses. And to be perfectly honest, we were already discussing before November if there were any areas that we could optimize and minimize our expenses. So we had put some thought into this in the FTX event, expedited our initiatives there. But between all of these things, I think we saw some decent improvements to runway prospective. And the last thing, of course, is that we immediately mobilized a strike team internally. We put together an investment presentation, and we started contacting different venture capital groups. And we've spoken to probably 30 different VCs, family offices, private investors at this point. And while I can't share too much on this, is where I have to be very conservative. Due to confidentiality requirements. We've had a number of great conversations. The one thing that I can share here is that we are in advanced negotiations with a couple of different groups. That does not imply that any deal is going to get done. It doesn't mean that we're going to be successful there, but it does imply that we are taking the next steps in these conversations and figuring out what is our path to securing some additional capital. Now, I guess I'll just kind of close on this particular segment just by, again, with the caveat that this is all to the best of my knowledge, but given the initiatives that we executed on, and based on our internal executive management calls, my belief is that we reliably have runway through September of this year. So there was a solid extension and greater reliability around that specific number based on from what I shared following the FTX event in that emergency town hall that we hosted. And I guess I should point out one more thing here, and it's just that the numbers that I shared during that town hall, the 6 to 9 months that I initially proposed there, that was as conservative as it could get. And even what I'm sharing with you guys today is as conservative as it gets. That assumes that, our expenses do not change, that all revenue sources dry up, our maximum burn rate is what we would be exposed to, and that we, of course, that we wouldn't have access to some type of external capital through, say, an investment. So I'm sharing with you all the most conservative numbers because I think it's the most appropriate and responsible thing to do because we don't know what the future is. But all in all, I'm feeling really good about the year. I'm feeling really good about our plans for development, and I also just want to emphasize here, and then I really will wrap this up. I just want to emphasize that from the strategy perspective and roadmap, nothing has materially changed. We're about to get into all of the 2023 plans, so I'll be brief, but even the reductions in the team, they have not changed our approach, our direction, our strategy, and the product roadmap that we have ahead of us for 2023.
Awesome, Michael. Thank you so much for all the updates, man. Do you want to move to the next topic, or do you want to take a question, or should we leave the questions for the end?
This is a big topic. We don't normally do this, but I think it makes sense to open the floor for just one question on the runway side. Happy to address that, and then we can get into what's up and coming for the town hall.
Okay, so I saw a few hands that were before. If anyone wants to ask a question, just raise your hand and I will let you in. Okay. I see Mandalorian, the first one who raised. Hey,
What's
Mandalorian,
going on, my brothers?
Hey,
how are you,
Mandalorian.
friend?
How you guys doing? It's
Good, good.
some pretty heavy topic, and I know a lot of people here are expecting a good answer, but I had a question about the future because it sounds like we're doing good and we have a good promising path to September. I want to know if you guys release Sage before your September conservative approach, what has there been any calculations of what kind of boost that can give you guys if it's successful and obviously everything goes well? And is there any approaches to that of calculation of what kind of boost you guys could get from that?
Yeah, I mean, we can obviously place estimates and projections around revenue generation associated with various product releases. I'm going to answer it more generally and just comment that broadly, when we roll out a product, when we roll out environments, that does obviously create excitement in the community, but it also has led to growth and adoption. So growth in the user base and adoption of the various products on the platform. Those naturally lead to revenue generating events. Now we have I guess what I would call an overhang of inventory and various assets, ships in particular. We all know, markets are. I largely associate this with market correlation and being in the middle of the bear market, but ship prices are all down, and so naturally that becomes kind of the more attractive opportunity for new people coming in. They're absorbing any of that inventory that's on the secondary market that's being sold. So it's going to take some time, I think, to absorb that inventory, that backlog of inventory that's available out there at less than origination price. However, we do have a couple of products up and coming this year. I'm not going to get into it again explicitly today on the mobile companion app that we have in development, but this creates an opportunity for a new asset category to be sold, and so we're certainly thinking through what asset types are being sold, as well as just the wide variety of alternative revenue streams that are already flowing into us as a company. And that includes things like the secondary marketplace transaction fees. So when these new users come in, even if they're purchasing ships that are less than origination price, there's still a revenue component that flows into us. We have pretty sizable brand integration, marketing, advertising opportunities, but this is going to be more closely associated with these immersive virtual environments. So thinking specifically about Unreal Engine 5, um, uh, and the last part that it's not something that the community probably cares a ton about, with the exception of it is a revenue opportunity for us. But we've been doing an enormous amount of work on the back end of our company, building out this infrastructure. So the underlying blockchain architecture that allows us to execute on our vision of true on-chain gaming architecture, that includes things like the FKit that we released last year. We have a Web3 MMO game server that we built from the ground up. We call that Starcom, and you all have heard me allude to Fuzzy Lemur in the past as well. That's the working title for a blockchain indexing service. The reason of bringing these up is because while we are the primary customer of all of those services, we do see commercial application in those. We believe that there are external companies and teams that would be interested in subscribing to that, and so we don't have the monetization strategy defined for it yet, as they're still being refined, and we're again testing it out for ourselves first. But that's also another pretty significant revenue opportunity for us. So we are thinking through all of the various paths that we have to generating income, and the enormous amount of innovation that's going on across the company leads to a significant amount of opportunities. So again, I feel pretty good about revenue going forward. It's continued to be fairly stable, even in light of the current environment.
Great answer, guys. Thanks. Yeah, you're totally right. Doing the extra opportunities is not going to hurt you guys for sure. It's going to help everything and get people. That's a bigger market opening up to the mobile community. I know that a lot of those people probably don't, have a computer, or they don't really partake in a lot of the things that people with PCs do. So I think that that's going to definitely open your guys' market up for sure. Am I able to sneak a little question in here? I just thought I'd build on that a little bit.
Sure.
Or we press for time. I know that you're in NDAs and stuff like that, and you can't really speak to it much. But just from your opinion, do you think that you guys will ever go down the path of going and pairing with another exchange, or is that kind of like a faux pas now?
You're speaking to crypto exchanges?
Yeah, just for more exposure to trading and kind of that kind of stuff for people that enjoy that.
Yeah, we really, as an organization, cannot be involved in any of the underlying efforts that would lead to exchange listings. So what we focus on is building out the product and building out the community. And to whatever extent exchanges out there see an opportunity, or there's demand for the trading of Atlas and Polis there, it is entirely their prerogative as to whether or not they list us. So those are not initiatives that we take as a company to drive market integrations.
Yeah, fair answer. I figured you were gonna say that. Okay, awesome. Thanks for the answers. Really excited, guys, and I'll let you get back to it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for the questions.
Thank you, Mandalorian. All right, Michael. I think we can move to some next topics, but before we move and get deep into other topics, I have a question. Just very briefly, Michael. Just can you share with us, like, bullet points? What are some things we can expect from Star Atlas that Star Atlas will be focusing on in 2023?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I guess I'll provide the bulleted list, but I guess I had noted in that intro statement that there were no changes to our strategy, to our roadmap. However, there is a bit of a philosophical shift internally that we've been working through at the beginning of the year. We've taken a number of strategy calls. We're working on team alignment. We're working on cross-team communication and integration and collaboration. But one of the shifts that we're experimenting with right now is this idea that we can create smaller product sets, MVPs, or feature releases, and we can get those out on a more iterative basis. Sage in particular is one of those products where we've continuously analyzed scope to figure out a nice balance between, okay, what is going to be a great product user experience, and what is the time between releases. Now, we spent a lot of time last year determining specifically what Sage is going to be, and I think that was a worthy investment of time. Of course, everybody would have loved to have seen Sage out last year, but I think the reality is, again, we were able to come to consensus internally on what would be an optimal and fun gaming experience that exceeds any of our own original and maybe the community's expectations around what the browser-based gaming experience would be. Just to recap for anyone who doesn't know, it was originally going to be entirely text-based, browser-based, 2D, and more of an O game. This is a long-running browser space and economic management game. was going to be more like O game, and through the course of the year, in a lot of discussions, really made the determination that while we can get that out quickly, it's not going to be something that has demand for long. It would really have been a stopgap measure, and it just wouldn't really have been fun. So I think we've landed on amazing game design. Major credit to the entire Sage team, just mentioning Mo and Chip here, and the econ team as well, Chris and Eric and Steven and Gareth and Anurag, all working together to pull together like the Sage game manual and the Sage economy document from last year. So I know I'm running running long here, Santi, already on what was supposed to be a bulleted answer, but the point of this is that we are moving into a structure where we're trying to reduce scope on each of the iterative feature releases and then just deliver a little more consistently. So what's up and coming this year? I mean, our focus, again, it hasn't shifted. And if you watched us at Breakpoint, if you saw the keynote presentation, we ran through the comprehensive roadmap across the company. But our focus this year is on Sage. Let me just talk, I guess, the path to the tech demo, which is this DevNet release that everybody's looking forward to. We've broken that out as part of this iterative approach, and we're going to be initializing the first Sage release through what is simply a movement test around the map, but we've tried to gamify that, and we've converted that into a bit of a scavenger hunt. So we have hundreds of thousands of dollars that are in a proposed loot pool, and the actions that you'll be taking are simple. But what's really powerful about this is it is our first on-chain game mechanic, which is that movement and coordinate system. And so we just want to roll that out, test that out, but give you an opportunity to participate in loot while you do so. From there, we'd be moving into mining and crafting, and then we may or may not need a third release, but if we do need a third release, that's when we would also introduce the combat mechanics, and we would ultimately get to that full tech demo V0 of Sage. Outside of that, 3 large releases for the Unreal Engine client. That's R2.1, we have R2.2, and then we have an R3 release that's also projected to come out this year. We've made some progress on the DAC platform. These are all of the guild management tools. Again, we'll get into more of this stuff a bit later here in the call, but the last thing is really the DAO proposal system. Now, we did just launch that treasury view, and there's another little update that's coming next week to the DAO, but the big one is governance. How do we introduce proposals, voting, discourse, the forum, and activate that PvP with all of the Polis that is in the Polis locker today. And then the marketplace, which is our portal project team, it's just has a nice list of continuous improvements, but the marketplace is in a pretty solid state. So I wouldn't say anything drastically overhauling that product, but just some consistent improvements through the year.
Awesome. I think you covered everything, but let's go a bit into detail on each of those things. If you want to do that, Michael, I think we can start with the DAO. So you talked a little bit about it, but what have we been working on in the DAO, and what can we expect from it?
Well, our focus last year was really getting some of the tokenomic elements integrated. So we launched the DAO as a platform. This was in June at the first 426 event. And that was coupled with the Polis locker. We rolled out the Atlas locker later in the year. And then we took that fourth quarter to go in and make some UX and UI improvements. Dark mode rolled out last year. And one of the things that I did want to emphasize was getting some of the transparency from the treasury view. So if you haven't seen it, guys, go to govern.staratlas.com, check out the treasury tab. We have a full comprehensive financial breakdown of the various income flows, the income segmentation, the income composition, as well as what is effectively the current balance sheet of the DAO. So what assets are being held there, and what is the current US dollar value of all of those assets. This to me is incredibly powerful. It's one of the biggest benefits of participating in the DAO. not only for gameplay mechanics, and not just for the locking rewards, but this is a pool of capital that you as a community, you people that are participating in governance, are going to be able to delegate. And I think for us, and I've been advocating for this for a long time, but the idea that you can take advantage of that capital to run things like hackathons, like game jams, like LAN parties, create a grant program. This is how we can start to encourage additional development throughout the Star Atlas ecosystem. We can bring in new innovators and creators and have them start to develop out services and products surrounding Star Atlas. And as we roll out various on-chain gaming architecture this year, specifically aligned with what's happening in Sage, I think there's going to be a huge opportunity to attract new developers within Star Atlas. And this is almost identical to how layer one protocols themselves develop. Right, it's building primitives, it's building programs, and using Solana does a great job with this. They just announced another hackathon yesterday, but they do an excellent job at attracting people into their ecosystem. And in much the same way, we want to attract these innovators into the Star Atlas ecosystem, because it's truly a win-win-win scenario. It's a win for the creator in that they can create a product that they can monetize. It's a win for us as a company because we get external development around our ecosystem, and it's a win for all of the users because now you all have access to more tools and more services and a better experience, and you're not relying exclusively on Automata to build all of that, because this is a huge undertaking. So I'm super excited that we got the treasury views out. That was kind of our focus last year, and we wanted to roll into this year with an emphasis on the true governance functionality, and that's where we're at now. And Santi, we actually have a screenshot here. We have some wireframes that have been pulled together that show the user interface of what the upcoming proposal system is going to look like. Do we want to drop that in one of these channels there?
That's comment that was just posted in announcement. So if you want to take a look at how the proposal wireframes are going to look like, just take a look right now at the announcements channel. I think it looks very cool.
I'm just looking at it
very
again
clean.
myself right now. This is we actually have multiple. We should have 3 images, Santi. Let's share all of those, because I want everybody to see the work that's been going into to this DAO design. I actually want to give Jeff Wagner a shout out here as well. He's been doing some really incredible work. And BCM, of course, again, Mark Jackson's on that team as well. Really great job, guys, just getting this all together. So we're in a solid state with the UI right now. These designs are essentially ready to start moving into actual development. Yeah, perfect. So that second image is massive. But what you're looking at here, everyone, is this is really the forum system. And we've been having a lot of philosophical discussion around how far do we go between the Web 2 and Web 3 spectrum. And our ambition is to be able to deliver this as almost entirely a Web3 experience. But again, there's trade-offs here in that what is possible today, how much do we need to build ourselves, how quickly can we do all of this stuff. And so we'll figure out how do we deliver this more iterative and more frequent release structure with the DAO, just like every other product across the company, and yet optimized for the Web3 experience. So this is what you're looking at is really just the landing page on proposals. You'll be able to see everyone that has submitted a proposal, what that proposal is, what the subject matter is. As a first step to this process, all of you that hold PvP will be able to effectively upvote or downvote on each one of these proposals. That will bring certain proposals up to the top of this page. There's extensive sorting and filtering functionality as well. I'm not going to get into all of that, but between the sorting, the filtering, and then the ranking of each of these proposals, we'll be able to bring to the top, bring to the surface what are the most important issues facing the community, facing the ecosystem, and most appealing to all of you today. So I'm just looking through these images live, Santi, with you here again. I want to make sure we capture everything here.
I think we also should move forward a little bit, Michael, to the next topic. I know the DAO it's a very hot topic. Everyone loves the DAO, and it's what will enable Star Atlas to go to the next level. But we can extend over the time, so guys, don't worry if we overextend. But I think if you want, Michael, we can move to the next topic.
You told me we had 2 hours today, Santi.
You want to go to 2 hours? I mean, I have 2 hours, but
I kid.
yeah,
Okay,
man.
I'll keep it moving forward, but just also to set the level of expectation here. The very quickly, the next steps after we start to get this rolled out is this is where we start to roll into that sustainable governance documentation that Dan put together last year for everyone. So the first step of the process is that we need to get those foundational proposals, the PIPs, introduced and get those voted on. So there won't be an open proposal system on day one when we roll this out. We'll have to go through those proposals that Automata is outlining. We come to agreement on the Constitution and the broader framework. Once those are implemented, then we can take the steps into, okay, anybody can submit a proposal. But as you see on the wireframes, last point, this is all Wallet Connect. That's how we want to do this. We want the forum to be Web3 integrated and directly use obviously your PvP as a key um, uh, integration point for all actions there on the DAO.
Awesome.
Okay,
So
I'll stop there.
yeah. Yeah, no, I got the messages from the community. We can go for 2 hours. So yeah, I mean, let's move to the next one, but we'll take it chill here. So let's go to the DAC platform, Michael. I know there's a lot of interest in the DAC platform. So is there any updates you can share?
Yeah. Um, uh, I guess I'll just start with this. What we're trying to align the release of the DAC platform with predominantly is the tech demo or the V0 release of Sage. We think that it's really most critical that we have some guild functionality and guild management tools integrated in time for the official release of Sage. However, if we can get anything out sooner, we will do that. But I'm happy to report that we actually have the blockchain program complete right now for the DAC platform, and that's moving into audit. What this is going to handle are things like guild registration, your member management, so inviting and kicking members, being able to define ranks and roles within your guild itself. It's going to integrate seamlessly with player profile, amongst some other things on this first iteration. The product design side is wrapping up the UX, and then we're also just working on a couple of things now that include figuring out improved leaderboards. Now we can get leaderboards for DAX integrated in a similar fashion that we do for factions and for individuals today. That's probably going to be the first iteration, but we want to think through what other metrics are important to you guys. So please give us your feedback, and we're happy to work on enhanced leaderboards specifically for guilds. And then finally, again, just working to align this release with Sage. So I'll pause there on the DAC platform. It is something that's in process, and we're excited to get that out this year as well.
Cool. I see a question like, is the DAC platform exclusive only for guilds, or can anyone just register their DAC and manage it from there?
Well, that's an interesting question. I guess we have a perspective on DAX that there's really the gaming groups, and then there's the non-gaming groups. So we would like to think of any external brand, mainstream brand or not, or even an individual that wants to operate some type of business within this new digital universe that we're creating as being a participant of a DAC, a decentralized autonomous corporation. So it's open to anyone. The tool set specifically, at least in this iteration, is being built or tailored to those gaming members. We really want the gaming tool set to come online first, but going into the future, certainly open to anyone to register a guild or a DAC for themselves and figure out how they'd like to operate and what is their motivation for being in this world of Star Atlas.
Cool. So basically, anyone can create a DAC and manage it from the DAC platform. Um, And yeah, and I'm getting messages from the team working on the DAC platform that there will be some sort of verification later. So whether it's by game XP, LP, or etc., or some other way. But yeah, the DAC platform is for anyone who wants to manage it from there.
Right.
Okay, let's move to the next topic, Michael. Anything else you want to add before we move?
No, I think we covered that one.
Okay, cool. So the next topic is Sage. So Michael, I understand we have some updates here for Sage. Can we get into that?
Do we? Do we have updates on Sage?
We have a few.
No, I know this is everybody is highly anticipating Sage. I guess I think it's worth starting out here just covering again kind of the innovation that's taking place in this product design. So I first just want to point to all of the on-chain programs and the types of gameplay mechanics that are being executed on the Solana blockchain. So this includes things like your movement and coordinate system, the combat systems, mining, crafting, inventory management, your player profile, the XP, LP. All of these are orchestrated through a comprehensive set of on-chain programs on Solana that allows you to play Sage and do so in an entirely Web3 environment. So I think that that's it was worth noting that, but some of the other complexities that arose out of designing this, and I spoke to these at the beginning of the call, is we had to build out all of our own backend infrastructure to make this possible as well. It wasn't just the programs, and it wasn't just the front end, and it wasn't just the game design and the economics, but we had to build out all of the backend architecture. And so that led to the creation of Starcom, that MMO game server. It led to the creation of Fuzzy Lemur, the blockchain indexing service. But between those two infra products, we're able to deliver what should be or should feel very much like a real-time strategy and real-time game environment, even though you're taking frequent actions on the blockchain. So you're not waiting, seconds or I'll say minutes, although that's not realistic for Solana. But you're not waiting seconds for one of your actions to be reflected in the game environment. It's all actually happening in real time, and it would be almost as if we're not operating on chain at all. So this was some really incredible work from our team to roll that out.
Yeah, and I have a question related to the programs. So we have like 7 very complex programs in Solana for Sage. So which ones of those are complete? Which ones are going to audit? Can you share a little bit on that?
You know what, Santi? I actually don't have that information in front of me right now. So the from my recollection, the movement and coordinate systems are the furthest along, which is why we're taking that approach of this kind of up and coming movement based scavenger hunt. Mining and crafting would be next in line, and then combat is coming up after that. Now, the player progression, the player profile, that actually is also complete as well. I don't know the audit status on all of these, so you caught me a little bit off guard with that question, but yeah. But we can get those updates out to the community if people would like to know the specific status of each of those.
Of course, we will.
Yeah. So okay, just moving along here. I know everybody wants timelines, and I'm really trying to avoid target dates. There's just too much confusion between when we set an ambitious target date for ourselves, a stretch goal that we'd like to hit, and when the product actually comes out. We get a lot of comments around, oh, these are delays. Well, the reality is we're doing all of this innovative work, and there's a lot of R&D that goes into this, and there really is no certainty around what can get done and when. So while we have our own internal dates for when we're going to roll stuff out, there's no guarantee that we hit those. And actually, it's more realistic that we miss dates than hit dates. So I kind of want to set that level of expectation, and I don't want to put out any specific date around Sage, but I also don't want the pitchforks at the door. So I'll just say we are still targeting a Q1. I go through that whole thing, and then I put a date out there, Santi. But we are still targeting a release in Q1. So I'm not going to share any comments on any future releases. But I think it's going to be a pretty cool experimentation with our movement system. That is this. It's the Sage map. And players are just going to bring ships into that map. They'll be exploring around the galaxy, and they have an opportunity to discover loot. As I said, we have hundreds of thousands of dollars of loot and assets that we're including in this, a wide range of different asset types. We'll actually drop the full loot table at some point in the not too distant future, but I'll just tease one thing out there, and there's going to be a highly there's a significantly low probability of this dropping, but we're actually dropping a Fimble tank ship in this movement test, this scavenger hunt.
Wow. Wow.
So that's
the, whoever
$100,000 ship
finds
on
it gets the tank ship?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we're
That's awesome.
looking forward to seeing people come in and play. It was this scavenger hunt was one of the ways that we were able to turn pointing and clicking and moving around a map into something that's pretty fun, I think. So we'll look forward to the feedback on that. But just know that we do already have the plans moving forward on what the next steps are and how we get ourselves from movement test and scavenger hunt all the way to tech demo.
Cool. And I got an update directly from Kane from Sage Team on the audits completed. Do you want to cover that, Michael? I
Excellent. It'd be great if you want to share each of those.
Yeah. So audits complete recently are XP, LP, player profile, cargo, crafting, claim stakes, and marketplace fee update. Those are the audits that were complete recently. Thank you, Michael Kane, for that. Huge shout out to Michael Kane. Cool. Do we
Thank
have? Oh, we. Do you want
we
to
do.
cover anything else? We have a few images.
Yeah. So these are we wanted to tease out a little bit of what some of the UI looks like. So this is not in game right now. These are still mock-ups, but I think we have some beautiful images from Luciano here that we should share with everyone as well.
Yep, just dropped on the leaks channel. I'm sure everyone got the notification, so you can go take a look.
What are you thinking of those, Santi?
Channel. I love it, man. It's looking very, very, very clean. Very clean. Great job on the UX side of things. Shout out to Luch.
Awesome. Just want to give everybody an opportunity to take a look at those before moving on to the next topic here, which is updates in the Volant Station showroom environment for this year.
Awesome. I think we could go for it, Michael. UE5. Let's do it.
UE5. Yeah, I have to say I'm incredibly impressed with the pace at which that specific product team is moving here. But the next up and coming release for us on showroom is a 2.1 interim release. So we had showroom R1 back in September of last year. We had showroom R2 in December of last year, and now we're moving into a minor release. Big parts of this include really the biggest part is probably the transition to UE 5.1. So it's a minor release or update for Unreal Engine itself, but that includes things like world partition, VR support. You guys probably saw some of the videos that Brad recorded where he was experimenting and playing around with VR. I just want to note here, we're not focused on the full VR support right now. That was really Brad just experimenting with that himself, but it's promising to see that enhanced VR support in UE 5.1. So we'll see where that goes with us in the future. Things like foliage, that was the big word when 5.1 came out, but the way that plants and trees are rendered in the engine. Now, part of this did require a ship refactor. So This is a transition from pure blueprints, which is kind of like how items are managed in Unreal Engine, to a combination of C++ coding plus blueprints. But what this also leads to is just a more performant environment. So we want to, higher FPS and making it more accessible to other people around the world as well. So continuously working towards that. And then some other things that are coming specifically within R 2.1 include the introduction of the marketplace. So we're pretty excited about the marketplace itself, but this is going to be an opportunity for people to do some test driving of ships, and that's going to be based on either distance or amount of time where you can experiment with a ship of your choice. You can fly that around, enjoy it, and if it's something that you like, you'll be able to purchase that directly through the Unreal Engine client. You won't have to break immersion and go out to the marketplace. But another
Michael, just before we continue moving forward, so what you covered before was what the UE 5.1 enhancements are, and now we're covering what we are going to do in R 2.1, right?
yeah,
Just to clarify that.
that's right. Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Though we are moving the showroom client to 5.1. Their UE 5.1 has these advancements, and that's specifically what I was referring to with world partition, VR foliage, things like that. Yeah, what we're discussing now are those features that we expect to integrate into showroom with our 2.1 release.
Cool.
All right,
We
so the
can continue
marketplace.
now. Sorry for interrupting you, sir.
No, all good. I'm glad you clarified. So the marketplace is the first part of that. But do you want to share this next one, Santi? I'm actually really excited about this one as well.
Of course, man. I mean, let's leak it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, we're also adding ground racing into showroom in the next release, and this is it's a multiplayer style fight for your position ground racing loop where you can also shoot at other ships. You can disable those other ships. You're not going to be able to skip gates like you can in the showroom right now in the time trial courses, and this is expected to support up to 8 people in a race at a time. And we have again an early, very early art image that I think we're going to share of what this ground racing course is going to look
Posted in
like.
leaks.
Perfect.
Posted in the leaks channel. Yeah. It's looking good. It's looking good. Again, it's early concept, right? Or is it UE5? I don't know.
This is
But
in UE5, but it's still early.
wow.
Yeah, early concept. Okay. Uh, we're also going to be updating the train station. And we've got another image here as well, but it's not going to be docking on the lower level of the showroom. It's actually going to the second floor. And this will eventually lead to what is a bit of a staging area where players will load in and hop on the train and take themselves over to the showroom.
Yeah, and we have a picture of the train interior in leaks as well, if you want to take a look, guys.
Okay, some other improvements. We have all of the ships. I kind of mentioned this, but the ships are being reworked and refactored. A part of this is that it's going to take better advantage of Lumen. Danny actually posted a video of the Floyd liner where you could see the light coming in through the front windshield and rotating around as, say, the sun was moving through the sky. So better implementation of Lumen. Pierce X4 and the Floyd liner are both getting boosts in their quality. So these are moving into what art and production define as the gold standard, but continuously improving those. All of those main bugs, by the way, that everyone has reported to us, the racing fixes, the whether that's like the skipping or the infinite speed glitch, race restarts, all of those are going to be fixed. And then the flight trainer with the collision and clipping bugs, those are also expected to be fixed. Now we have some other prospective. So all of the things I just listed, those are expected to come out with 2.1, but we do have some stretch goals on that release as well. And uh, happy to get into those right now, Santi.
Yeah, let's do it. So again, just to clarify, these are prospective, right?
Prospective, that's right. So we've been looking at jetpacks, and Danny's actually been sharing some videos internally of that individual jetpack based flight. Again, very early stuff, but this the purpose of the jetpacks, I mean, outside of just being super cool, is to serve as a intermediary form of travel. So between walking or running, and flying, say, just an X4. So it's a middle ground of speed and maneuverability around the map. There's also going to be quite a few more ships that we're looking to integrate into the flight trainer and flyable and showroom. Again, Danny actually mentioned these yesterday in the foundation room, but they include the Opal Jet, the Opal Jet Jet, the Fimble Lobi, the Pierce X6, the Fimble Airbike, and the Fimble Bios Packlight. So all of the art on those is getting into a state where we're ready to roll that out.
Awesome. So I think that's all for our 2.1, right? Do we have anything else, Michael?
That's right.
There's a
That's
lot.
that.
There was a
y-
lot.
If Danny was up here, I'm sure he could speak for 2 hours just about everything that's coming in probably just in 2.1. But I've given it probably the best coverage that I can give, Santi. So why don't we jump into our 2.2 here?
Let's do it, Mike. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Go.
so this will be another interim or minor release candidate for the showroom. This really focuses on just kind of one major improvement, and that is making the improvement on the multiplayer system. Or we're actually working with a team right now to figure out our dedicated server hosting and multiplayer optimization. Uh, Through the collaboration with this team, we're uh, the projection is that we'll be able to have between 400 and 1,000 concurrent players in a server instance. Instancing is actually probably the inappropriate word to use there. This is just open world MMO, but this is one of the biggest challenges that anybody that's building an MMO has to take on, is how many concurrent users can fit in a specific region of a map before things just start to go bad. So we're excited about being able to get the multiplayer optimizations in place. But the other thing that this is going to introduce is dedicated hosted multiplayer servers from the Automata side. So right now, when you go into the showroom, you can join a multiplayer instance, or you can host one yourself. These are all peer-to-peer. It leads to a bunch of issues with things like latency, so higher ping for some people than others, depending on where they're all located. So this is going to resolve all of that, and you'll be able to connect to some centralized servers, improve that experience as well. Did we lose you, Santi?
Man, you caught me on mute. I was sipping through some coffee, man. Did you say 400 to 1,000 players, probably?
That's
That's
what's
insane.
projected. Yeah, that's what's projected.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Awesome.
big
Do you
improvement.
want to? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Please continue, sir. No,
No,
continue, sir.
yeah, you continue.
I'm going to hop to the next topic, Michael. You know how it is. So if you have
Let's.
anything to add to R 2.2,
No,
say it.
I think we're good. We've made it awkward enough. We can move to R3.
Let's go to R3 then. Let's start with a small leak for R3. We
Okay.
have a video. Dominic, sir, do it. Okay. It was just posted on leaks, and now I'll let you cover R3, Michael.
Well, so Danny specifically does not want us to share too much about R3, and I support the approach on this one. We've already roughly alluded to the PvP focus that's going to be coming out. I'm not really going to share much more than that. This is the one I guess I would call minor pivot from what we discussed at Breakpoint. Surrounding the expansion of Showroom to the Mud Central Space Station. The warp gate construction is still in there, by the way, and all of the same underlying mechanics are all part of this. Now, I've chatted with Danny a bunch about this, and from his perspective, it's not a pivot because this is all of the same functionality that they were building anyway. The environment is changing slightly, but I've probably already said too much, so I'm just going to say we're moving to a PvP focus on the R3 release. And the last point here, stay tuned with us because we are gearing up for a major reveal of this release candidate at Breakpoint this year, so November of this year.
Awesome. Yeah, don't share anymore. Danny will fire us all. Let the man cook.
Yeah. Since we use PvP across the DAO, and it's used commonly in gaming, just to clarify, that is player versus player. Everybody probably knows that, but I thought worth pointing that out as well.
Cool. Awesome. Anything else on R3 before we move to the next one, Sorry?
No, we're going to keep that one pretty light.
Okay. Then let's go to the claim stakes for Score. I know there are some updates in there.
Yeah, we're getting into kind of the housekeeping section of the session today, and so the Score claim stakes. These are the claim stakes that were sold during the start sequence. As a minor benefit, you're going to be able to enlist, if you will, your claim stakes that will require a power plant and a mining drill. You'll be able to enlist those to the faction fleet program, and those are going to produce R4 for you. So the blockchain program on that is actually complete. I think I didn't hear this one from Michael Kane, but I think we got the audit results from that back from Kadelsky as well. But the design's also complete, and this one is in front end development. Now we ran into a little bit of a complication with the front end dev simply because part of the portal team was already refactoring the code base for faction fleet, and we happened to start doing some work on the integration of these claim stakes, and we had to kind of undo some of that work because we just want to roll all of this out with the newly refactored code. So I guess the result here is that we are this is one more item where I will provide a date, but again, subject to change. We are thinking that these claim stakes in Faction Fleet are coming out in March, possibly sooner, possibly later, but we're working to get those out as soon as possible.
Cool. I just got a message from Kane, and yeah, it's been audited already. It's complete.
Audit is complete. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, so I mean that one's coming online just as soon as possible. Just working on the front end dev, and we've got just one more thing here, Santi, and that's the asset airdrop from the start sequence campaign.
Cool. Do you want to cover that one?
Yeah, just to refresh everyone's memory. So there were a number of bonuses that were associated across this campaign. So discounts included, but also various items. Ship skins if you purchased any of the ships that were on discount. I won't go through the full list from the CSS land claims, but your HAB, there's some whitelisting, so you get whitelistings to select your plot location. You get whitelisting into commercial property. You get there's some exclusive unreleased ships that are going to be going out to people that purchase the CSS plots. Custom paint. As I said, I won't go through all of them. And then also on the claim stakes themselves, we had the mining drill and the power plant that is going to be dropped for free when purchasing a tier of any various level, and your mining drill and power plant correspond to the tier level of your claim stake. So those items are only associated with the primary market purchases. So those had to be purchased from the Automata team. If you bought any of these on secondary, you do not receive any of the additional rewards. All of the rewards are associated with the purchasing wallet. So whoever bought that item on primary, if they resold that, they still get all of the other airdropped items. What we're shooting for on this one, I guess I'm adding one more date here, but what we're shooting for on this one, just given how close we are to getting this out, is next Friday. All of these items are going to be claimable in your inventory. So once the drop, and I'm in air quotes here, but once the drop happens, you'll be able to go into your inventory, claim each one of those items. Santi, that was actually one of your recommendations, was to do this through the claiming system instead of a direct airdrop. Do you want to comment on that at all?
Yeah, of course. So we know there are a lot of scams going on, that people receive quote unquote free airdrops, and they are completely fake. So just for everyone's information, if you receive a random NFT and that NFT has in the description a link, never click that. Never click that. And some things that happened with our airdrops in the past is that people were burning them thinking they were part of these scams. So we decided to take the route of going people claiming these airdrops on their inventory, so they know that they are not scams and they can be sure about that. So yeah, I think that's it, Mike.
Got it. Thanks, Santi. Okay, and then just kind of a final point here. There's going to be multiple components to the release of these bonus items. Where we prioritized our time was getting those items that have some type of more immediate utility associated with them. So that's things like the mining drill and the power plant. The big one are that set of ships that were coming with the CSS land claims. Those ships are going to be able to be enlisted in faction fleet as well. Things like badges and habs, but some of the stuff that's not done yet are the final skins on all of the ships, the pet house, the custom paint, the crafting station, the pet house, the sculptures. More cosmetic items are those are going to come in a secondary phase. And I want to mention one final thing here, just in closing, on how we've made the determination around what is going to be dropped, and this is very much aligned with I guess I would say how we didn't execute on the rebirth campaign, where a lot of items went out. So the original claim stakes went out, and all of the bonus items from rebirth went out. For a while, a few of those were tradable on the marketplace, but they never had any formal pricing from us on the team, and so we saw these wildly speculative varying values on those items. And what we wanted to ensure was that until people have some accurate information from us as to what the official pricing is going to be, we prefer to keep those items off market. So we did not have an officially supported market pair for those. But what I will say is, on the ships that are coming out associated with CSS land, we have the pricing complete, we have the quantity complete. So we'll have those items. They will be tradable on the marketplace, but just very important to note, we are not selling any of these ships yet. So there will be a very limited quantity of supply of those items based on those people that claim them from the airdrop. But at some point in the future, we'll introduce the balance of that supply in a future galactic asset offering. So I think that largely covers it, Santi. There's been, as I said, we really haven't skipped a beat. We all came right back, and we are full speed here at Automata. So I think that's it from me at the moment, Santi. Anything I missed?
Cool. No, I think we covered everything. It was lots of updates. Again, we knew it was probably we were going to go over the scheduled time, but I think this is what the whole community is needed was needing. Sorry, and yeah, man, we covered everything about Star Atlas. So awesome. I'm not sure, Michael, if you have time to take one or two questions and then we close, or if you have to
I
hop.
definitely do. Let's yeah, because we just covered a ton. So why don't we take take a couple questions here? Maybe we'll plan to close at 30 after.
Okay, so if anyone has any questions, raise your hand and we'll let you in. I see an OG here, a classic. Signal invited you to stage, my friend. Hey, Signal.
You know, Santi, you didn't give Signal a shout out at the beginning, and I thought about that. Hey,
Yeah,
Signal.
true. Yeah, Signal, man, you have been crushing it. We're giving you the shout out now, man. You're a rock star.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Oh,
Doing
great, man.
good.
How are you?
Pretty good. So my question, it's a little more philosophical and free form, but it's in the topic that you started with, which is finances, because I know people are going to speculate about it, forever after this is over. So I just wanted to ask, um, when you think about the balance of your production cost versus what you think your product's going to generate in terms of earnings and revenue, like releasing Sage, relative to your burn rate. Um, Philosophically, how do you view how the project is going to sustain itself over time? Do you think you release Sage and all of a sudden, maybe 50% of your production cost is covered by transactions from the game itself? Do you anticipate that you're going to have to keep doing asset sales long term? How do you see that balance being struck, at least in terms of your vision
Hmm.
for the future and looking forward? How do you see it? Because clearly you have to have a plan for how you're going to get to 3 years from now. What does that look like in terms for you?
I mean, there are. It's a great question. Thanks, Signal. And there are quite a few components to this. I think you really nailed part of the underlying strategy, which is recurring revenue streams. Now, why Sage is very powerful for us as a company is not just because the user growth, the adoption that can come from that, the excitement, the hype that can come from the product brings people in that want to purchase items, want to purchase NFTs, want to purchase assets from us. That's a great core initial revenue stream. But what's more meaningful in Sage is really this activation of the economy, right? Moving to this peer-to-peer crafting based transactional economy throughout Star Atlas. Now that's also very powerful for the players. I actually want to touch on that maybe at the end of the question here, but it's very powerful for the players. But for us, being able to pick up this secondary marketplace transaction fee on all of the transactions, the total GDP that exist within the universe of Star Atlas, leads to an enormous opportunity for recurring revenue streams for us. And I'm more than happy to consider what that fee looks like going into the future. But for the in the short term, what I would point to is Axie Infinity as a project. Now, they've generated hundreds of millions of dollars. The number that I've heard, and I haven't verified this, but the number that I've heard is that they've generated upwards of $150 million per month in secondary transaction volume based on people trading the assets within that world. So my motivation is to get us into a position where we're not so reliant on new asset issuance and new asset class sales, but rather how do we start to create a sustainable revenue model where we have reliability around the income that flows into us just based off game activity. So that's the primary focus, is getting to a point where we have a very, very large GDP, billions, maybe $1 trillion GDP inside Star Atlas at some point. That's where I'd like to go. But these other revenue streams that I refer to, the brand integrations, the partnerships, the commercial strategies, the businesses that will want to sell items inside Star Atlas, that's less focused on Sage. Although there might be some opportunities there, it is going to be more focused on the immersive Unreal Engine experience, specifically within each of the central space stations. However, again, thinking about recurring revenue streams, this is where I think our infrastructure product sets are going to be quite attractive. It's kind of an entirely different business model. So we're probably going to be structuring partnerships with channel distribution partners to manage the actual sales pipeline there. But what I'm referring to is the idea of software as a service. This is one of the most profitable or lucrative business models in the tech sector. So our ability to, again, generate consistent recurring revenue off of software as a service is very appealing to me. And then I think it's worth noting here, just in full transparency, while we very much took the position that until the gaming products come online, which was not the reality in 2022, we are going to continue to be the core utility in token sync specifically for Atlas, right? There was outside of being able to purchase ships and specifically purchase ships from us, there wasn't really much of an outlet for the Atlas that was being earned through Faction Fleet. And I think how passionate I am about the economic side of this and creating these sustainable economic loops. Well, we weren't in a position to be able to sell any of our tokens last year. I took a strong position against that. So at some point in the future, though, it should be expected and realistic that we are going to be selling some of our tokens on a regular basis into the market as well. And our objective there is to be market neutral. We don't want to have any impact on, say, the exchange rate of the token, either up or down. Right? We're just participants like everyone else, and we manage that process through analyzing and understanding the total volume that's transacted across the entire ecosystem. So on every exchange and every decentralized exchange, and figuring out what the tolerance levels are for us to be able to liquidate some of those tokens while having zero impact. Again, we want to be market neutral here, but do understand that there is a huge opportunity for us to capitalize on those ecosystem tokens that we hold in our balance sheet. Worth pointing out when I say ecosystem tokens, because there was some confusion around this in the emergency town hall. I'm only referring to Atlas and Polis that come into us either through the marketplace or through the DAO operations. So at some point that becomes a huge opportunity, and considering the current balance of tokens and, who knows what happens with the exchange rate. But if we look at historical data of where it has traded in the past, if we were to approach anywhere close to that, we would have hundreds of millions of dollars sitting on our balance sheet that we could tap into. Now, there's one more point that I want to make here, and that's on the DAO itself. Now, we know that the DAO is holding something like $1.7 million today. Again, while trying to remove myself from anchoring and adjustment bias, if we were to look at the historical value of that, at some point in time in a very optimal market cycle, the DAO would be sitting on something like, $85 to $90 million today. That would be could be leveraged by the DAO. So at that point, and Virtual kind of commented on this last night in the foundation room of, hey, let's take some of the money from the DAO and help support Automata. While I don't think that's realistic today, and he understands that, I do think it's realistic in the future. It's very possible that at some point going forward, we create a distinct licensing agreement with the DAO, where the DAO actually gets to determine how does the Star Atlas IP get used, and in doing so, the DAO agrees to, say, compensate us on a monthly basis for development costs, so that we can continue building this thing. So I think we have a lot of options available to us. We have quite a sophisticated revenue stream strategy. And again, I mean, all of these things lead to a lot of confidence in me, and I think lead to a very optimistic future. But all that said, and again, that disclaimer in place, a lot of uncertainty around all of this as well. But this is the nature of the business that we're in. So I did have one more comment, but let me pause there because the comment is slightly off track from that.
No, perfect. I really appreciate the additional color. I'm glad that I asked the question because I'm sure that helps a lot of other people envision how you're looking at the landscape and how you're looking at your own pipeline and your runway and how you're going to build this thing out beyond what you're looking at right now, just in terms of a cash position. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, great question as always, Signal. The one thing that I wanted to circle back on was this idea of the peer-to-peer economy within Star Atlas, and why I think that this is so important that we get this activated is this criticism that's coming to the concept of play to earn and the lack of viability there, or the unsustainability of play to earn. And while I do believe that there have been some models that were developed that led to instability in those economies, and I'm not going to point to any one project in particular, as they're all experimenting with this as well. But the idea that you can have this perpetual and exponential inflation rate of tokens with very high call it yield or income generating assets for players, well, that's certainly not sustainable if you don't have any of the other economic sinks and demand and store of value for the token itself. And so that does lead to the catastrophic collapse of, say, token pricing if you don't get it right. That's not our approach, though. We have a fixed emission curve, a distribution schedule for things like Atlas and Polis that are going out, and it's effectively all players competing on that single subsidy, and that subsidy declines over time. It will eventually likely go away unless an inflation rate is introduced by the DAO itself. But where that decline in the subsidy is offset is through your ability to generate income through other players. And I'm going a bit off on a philosophical rant here, but the idea that as you create items in game and sell those to other players based on demand, that's actually your primary income source. It's not through the subsidy itself. It's not through the emissions of Atlas at all. It's actually just from other players, because you're producing value, whether that be, a service in piloting a ship for someone that wants to hire you to do so, because you have the skill set and the player progression that makes that possible, or because you're, producing goods across the universe that have demand. That's the primary income source for players moving into the future. And then there's one final piece here, and I will wrap this up. The final piece is the idea that in these immersive digital worlds, in the idea of the metaverse of the future, it's critical that we establish some type of balance between the producers and the consumers in the world. I've often described this as the different cohorts or market segmentation of player demographics that would be anywhere from the trader, the speculator, maybe the financial participant, the play to earn community who is extractive based. These are the people that are looking to exclusively generate income from the world or from these gaming products. And then there's the traditional gamer, right? That's probably primarily focused on, is this an entertaining, is this an engaging gameplay experience? Do I want to spend hours of my day in this game? Now, to some extent, there is a group of individuals that will be more than happy to pay some money for consumption or for efficiency within the game. They might be happy to pay someone to manage all of their mining operations and resource generation, so they can simply go out and fight, right? Maybe they want to do dog fights, or they want to hang out in the high risk zone and just PvP. Well, those individuals might be more than happy to pay $10 a month or $20 a month or $100 a month so that they can have a better gaming experience, and they don't care if they're actually making money or not. And so what we want to figure out is, how do we create a balance, and how do we match the people up that are producers and extraction based with the people that are consumers? And the biggest difference in Star Atlas from any traditional game is that we do not necessarily sit as the intermediary of all of those transactions, or rather, we are not the sole beneficiary of those transactions. In most games, anybody that's a consumer is driving revenue directly to the studio, to the producer of the game. In our case, we're saying, no, we're going to match you up with a counterparty who is the producer with the consumer. And then where we do sit in the middle is we have that secondary marketplace transaction fee, right? So leading back into, okay, well, we can drive recurring revenues off of that revenue stream of our business. So long answer. I think we're only going to get the one question in there because I did go way over, but hopefully that helps with some additional context as well.
Always a pleasure, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Signal.
Thank you, Signal. Yeah, man, that was great, Michael. We should have more conversations like this.
Sure.
I love it. I love it. So I think it's a good moment to close now, unless you want to add something else, man.
I feel really good, Santi. I mean, I think that was a great town hall, a great way to kick off the year. Again, I'm really excited about 2023. I think the morale is high internally, and I'm just looking forward to. I think this is going to be a pivotal year for us. We've in our internal strategy discussions, we've really started to contextualize the history of Star Atlas as year one. So 2021 was really about outlining the vision. Uh, I have another philosophical rant here, Santi, but I'm gonna keep it short. But
Do it, do it.
no, I mean the idea that Star Atlas has been in development for 2 years just honestly is inaccurate. We haven't actually been in development for 2 years. We rolled out with a white paper, a dream, and a vision, and fortunately we've been able to build this amazing community on the back of this concept. But most of 2021 was really just presenting what this could be to the world, and we were able to pick up a lot of traction as a result of that and start to um, grow the community and generate some revenue as a result of that. But we didn't we had to grow, we had to build a team, we had to build the company, we have to build all this infrastructure, and we have to build the game as well. There's a lot to do from the ground up, from scratch. We were not an existing studio that had all of the resources and human talent necessary to execute on this from the start. So 2021 was all about presenting the vision, attracting interest, uh, uh, demonstrating, to use kind of market terminology, product market fit. Like we think we have it, right? Because we've been able to establish ourselves as a predominant player in the Web3 gaming space, and again build this amazing community. So 2021 was the vision, attracting capital and starting to build a team. 2022 was really a foundational year where a lot of R&D took place, and we laid the groundwork for all of the content production pipelines and all of the call it the SAGE game design, the theory behind the DAO and sustainable governance. All of those things were foundational pieces of 2022. But now we're in the execution phase, and we have some great synergy and momentum on the team and velocity on the team. And so I think this is the year now where we all know where we're going, right? And now it's just a matter of how fast can we get there. So again, super looking forward to 2023. Roadmap looks good, product set looks good, and we're well on the path to delivering on everything that we've outlined.
Awesome, man.
I'll stop
Yeah,
there.
nothing to add there, man. Nothing to add. Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you for being here. Also, I think I speak in the name of the whole community. We really appreciate you coming here, taking the hard questions, updating us on everything Star Atlas related. So thank you so much, Mike. And I think it's a good moment to close. But before we close, I want everyone to know that today we have a Twitter Spaces. We'll be talking about the Twitter Spaces is called The Future of Web3 Gamer. It's hosted by our great Ash, and we'll be talking about esports in Web3. So I'm going to drop the events here in the Townhall chat. Mark that as interested so you don't miss it. And then I also dropped the event for the brew next week. So make sure to go to the Townhall chat, mark both events as interested, so you can participate in everything that we have going on in the Star Atlas community. But that being said, thank you again, Michael. Thank you to all the audience. I know I gave a few shout outs today at the beginning, and I'm sure I missed like the majority of the people. There's so much people building cool stuff in Star Atlas, doing cool stuff. There are friendships, partnerships being formed in the community, and that makes us proud, makes us happy. So thank you everyone for everything that you do. Thank you, Michael, for being here in this Townhall, first Townhall of 2023, and power to the people.
Power to the people. Always a pleasure being up here with you, Santi, and thanks for joining me. And thanks everyone for sticking around with us so long. So look forward to chatting soon. Have a great weekend, everyone.
See you soon, everyone. Bye bye.